Lilo and Stitch is a 2002 Disney animation starring the voices of Daveigh Chase, Chris Sanders, Carerre and Ving Rhames. It's also directed by Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois, who you might know as the pair that went on to direct How to Train Your Dragon, and Dean DeBlois went on himself to direct the even better How to Train Your Dragon 2. The story's a little different to what you might expect from a Disney film. In space, an alien scientist called Jumba creates a genetic experiment called Experiment 626, and the Council of Aliens decides, nope, that's very illegal, can't do that, nope, not here, and places the experiment in custody. Experiment escapes, of course, and crash lands to Earth, where it is promptly adopted as a dog by Lilo and Nani, and it is named Stitch. However, Alien Council isn't going to let that happen, so it sends Jumba, another alien called Pleakley, who is greatly played by Kevin McDonald, to Earth to actually capture the experiment in exchange for their freedom. So that's the basic setup for the story, and you might be thinking that's a little different to what you might expect from Disney. There's no princesses in there, there's no castles, there's no Prince Charmings. It's about aliens, and it has a much different sort of vibe to it that I very much appreciate. It is not a revolution of the Disney formula by any means. It is not completely different. It doesn't tip the whole formula on its head, but it's definitely refreshing. But of course it does keep all the good stuff about Disney. Not that the princess formula is necessarily a bad one, but it's definitely a tried one, and it's getting a little old and tired. But there is a lot to like about Disney in general. For example, the vibrant animation styles, which are consistently good quality and have their own charm to them. This movie is slightly different. It's got sort of a rounder face style, rounder noses, but it's also got a very different way of doing backgrounds. And I didn't notice this any other time I've watched this film. If you actually look at the backgrounds, they are a watercolour sort of aesthetic, completely static of course, but they're watercolour and they're actually very pretty. Like the cities in Hawaii, the ocean in the background, the beaches, it all looks very good. Obviously it doesn't get interacted with, but it's very aesthetically pleasing. Also something very vibrant are the characters themselves. Lilo is this young girl who doesn't quite fit in in Hawaii. She doesn't quite fit in with her classmates in a Hawaii class. She is a little bit of an outcast, much like Stitch, and the movie tries to sort of ham-fist the way Disney does, but we'll let it slide. A ugly duckling sort of message to it. It doesn't make this very discreet at all, but it's fine, and the character's interesting. Lilo at first I thought had a bit of a voice that was a little too high pitched, but it's actually not too bad. You get used to it really quickly, and it's very funny actually. This movie has a really great sort of sense of humour to it. It's got very good comedic timing, and it's one of the funnier Disney movies I've ever seen, if not the funniest. I'm struggling to think of anything that's more enjoyable. I think that's because the humour's more down to earth, and also more down to earth is the soundtrack. Like I said, this isn't like a normal Disney film by any means. There aren't characters that just burst into song. That doesn't happen once, if I remember correctly. It doesn't happen once. What we actually have is a background score, which feels logical. And what we get is a selection of maybe authentic Hawaiian tracks. What's more important is that they actually sound authentic, and they do. I'm not sure if they actually are. I imagine they are. And we also get very good songs from Elvis Presley, which Lilo looks up to. And at one point in the film, she actually tries to teach Stitch to be more like Elvis, thinking this will help his behavioural problems. And it all fits in really nicely with a theme. It gives this movie a certain, obviously, vibrancy, as I've mentioned to it, but also it makes it stand out somewhat. The soundtrack is actually very good. I very much enjoy listening to it. I've listened to it outside of the film. Obviously it's Elvis Presley, but the Hawaiian tracks as well are surprisingly good. I really liked the direction this movie went. But again, it's not a revolution by any means, and there's nothing necessarily bad about it. It's just that there's nothing that knocks anything out the park. It is still fairly light for a Disney film, which you can't necessarily dock marks for. I mean, that's fine. These are aimed at kids, but they do provide something for adults as well. And I can prove that because I liked it when I was a kid, and I like it now. I am an adult, I swear. See? Adult. So despite there being nothing that really knocks this film out of the park, I actually find it very enjoyable. I think it's very good. I think it's very funny. I very much like, as I said, the aesthetics of the film. I love the characters, and just over 80 minutes long. It doesn't outstay its welcome by any means. I liked it from beginning to end. It's very refreshing, and despite not being outstanding, it is a very good film. I really suggest people watch it. So that's about it. It is actually one of my favourite Disney films because it mixes the formula up a little bit. And I really suggest you take a look. I give it an 8 out of 10 overall. Very, very good. I can't really see any reason why someone wouldn't enjoy this film. I guess if you don't like Disney films in general, despite the switch up, this might not change your mind, but I think you should give it a chance. If you haven't seen it already, where have you been? Why aren't you in the world right now? So guys, that's my review for Lilo and Stitch. If you haven't seen it, please take a look. If you have, why not revisit it? It's a short, fun time. It distracted me while I was waiting for Grand Theft Auto 5 to download. That took about 29 hours, but you know, we do these things sometimes. If you like this video, could you please like, favourite and subscribe if you really want to see more. There will always be more. I've got way more reviews in the pipeline. If you agreed with the video, please comment. If you disagreed, please also comment. Get a discussion going. Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. No, I didn't mean it. No, I'm not. No, I can be however old you want me to be. No, the whiskey didn't mean anything. The whiskey never meant anything.